Is the Hawk 250 a good starter bike? I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think it really is a great beginner bike to start on. Before I get started, I want to welcome you back to the channel, and if you're new here, go ahead and press that subscribe button by that green arrow that's blinking to your right, so you don't miss out on any content. Also, if you're curious about this bike and how I got it and some mods for it, there's a link to the playlist for the Hawk 250 up in the top right. Alright, let's get started. So this list is not ranked, it's just a list of 5 different things that I think make this bike a good bike. Alright, number 1 is price. I chose to talk about this first because it is what is drawing people to Amazon to buy this bike. It's affordable. There are certain boundaries to entry into the field of riding motorcycles, so a low price new bike that's not crazy but not too slow is very desirable. So here's the bike that I bought. It's an RPS 250cc Hawk 250 Enduro. It was $14.65 before tax. Shipping was free, and if you signed up for the Amazon card, you could split it up into 12 payments. So if that's an issue for you, you can't pay it all at once, then you're able to make payments on it, and they'll be fairly low without getting into a loan. Now you also have to figure in the money for registering, getting the title, and paying the sales tax, and an inspection if you're in a state that requires it. For me, that would be an extra $275, so the total price came to about $1,775, $1,800. To me, that's pretty good for an entry-level bike. So here's X Pro's version. It's $1,549 with the Amazon Prime card. You get a gift card for $150, so it makes it $1,400. This also comes with a cover and a stereo if that's something you're interested in. So this is also a good deal. And the last one is the fuel injection model of the X Pro Hawk. It's called the DLX. This comes with upgraded forks, and it's a little more expensive, but you got the electronic fuel injection, which is, basically standard on most new motorcycles nowadays. To me though, the EFI is not worth another, maybe $600 you have to pay for it. Alright, number 2 is forgiving. And what I mean by this is the bike is not going to throw you off. It'll forgive if you give too much throttle, or you click to the wrong gear. Other bikes, you really have to be careful because too much throttle in a turn will break the back tire loose and you're gonna low side, or you're gonna give too much throttle and it's gonna loop. You're gonna flip the bike. There's some people that start on higher cc bikes, but I think it's a little crazy, and I think something like this would be perfect because you can learn at a slow pace, and you can work your way up to get a bigger bike when you're comfortable. Alright, number 3 is the bike is easy to maintain. And I say this because the motorcycle is basically a rudimentary version of a motorcycle. It's carbureted, it's a single cylinder, it has no electronics other than a CDI to run the ignition. So troubleshooting the bike is very easy. It's easy to do maintenance on. It's easy to upgrade, and the parts are incredibly cheap. That being said, the parts being cheap, things break a little easier. Although I haven't had any issues yet, the price of the parts that you'll have to buy are not going to be breaking the bank. Compared to something else that would be a beginner bike, say like a CBR 250 or a Ninja 300, those bikes have a complete computer system. They have to be serviced in intervals in a dealership, and that's just extra costs, and you could probably do it yourself, but if you're just starting out, a brand new bike is pretty intimidating to work on. This one, you can take the plastics off and you could tear the engine down in probably 15 minutes if you really wanted to. So I think that's a big plus for this bike. Alright, for number 4, I chose light and maneuverable because it is exactly that. The bike weighs just shy of 300 pounds. The power to weight ratio is pretty good because it weighs, not a lot. The off-road tires are heavier, so if you had some on-road, off-road tires on, it would weigh a little bit less. But the bike is good. It performs on-road and off-road well. You don't feel like you're lugging around this really heavy bike. So in the woods, you're not worried about falling over, or the weight taking you this or that way. It's pretty maneuverable in certain situations. Now the height is a little bit of an issue. I am 6 foot and I have to really tiptoe at the light or at a stop sign. Someone shorter than me would definitely have some issues. I don't know if you could look into a smaller shock in the rear or getting some of the seat taken out. I don't know if I'd want to do that because the seat is very nice, but that is one of the only issues I've seen so far, is that the bike is very tall. And for the last one, number 5, the bike is fun, and fun on-road and off-road. The bike is great for commuting, putting around town, riding with people, and it's also fun off-road. It's a dual sport. It's an enduro, so you could ride trails, you can do some moto camping into the woods, but you could also ride the bike there on the road, ride off into the woods, ride out of the woods, and ride back on the road home. So I think it's a really fun bike, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's minimal maintenance. It starts up right away every time, and it's really a blast. I only have a couple hundred miles into it so far, but I'll be doing a huge update when I get to the 500 and 1,000 mile intervals, because there is some major service that happens at the 500, which is an oil change and check the valves to see where everything is at with the engine. But the capabilities on road are there. With a upgrade in the sprockets, you could potentially get 70 mile an hour and ride on the road, and then the tires and the gearing is meant for the woods, and suspension, so it's real nice off-road. Granted, you're not going to be taking this on a motocross track because I feel like it might split in half. But I don't know, I think anyone with a brain would know you're not supposed to jump something that's cheap. But that pretty much concludes this video, and that was my 5 reasons why I think this bike is a great beginner bike. If you guys are liking these videos and you want to see more, I have a bunch of videos on this bike so far, such as when I first got it, the unboxing, first ride, first mods. And I also have an SV650 and a scooter, and do some other things on the channel. So go ahead and subscribe in the bottom right, and watch out for some new videos. And I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.